Well, welcome back. And now allow us to cross over to our sister station, Spice FM, and follow up on a conversation that happened earlier with Githunguri Member of Parliament, that is Gathoni Moshomba, on the new young tax movement in Parliament. Let's listen in.
Yes, we have created bottleneck for ourselves everywhere. Every time we are trying, the government is trying to provide us a solution, we create ourselves a bottleneck over the same problem. You know, when I saw my president last night says that we have to try to live within our means. And I wondered, is Mr. President telling us that those of us who cannot afford to access Nairobi Hospital for medication, we try and adjust and just live with our problems?
Exactly.
Is Mr. President telling us that those of us who cannot be able to get to a nice maternity facility, a private operated maternity facility, then we continue getting our babies as women on the floor of public hospitals? Is Mr. President trying to tell us that those children who did not get to Form 1, because the Form 1 transition this year has been the lowest at 90.046%, weighed up, down from 99%, almost 100% last year. Is Mr. President trying to tell us that now we continue languishing in agony and pain just because there's no money? What is our priority? Is it affordable housing or is it our medication? Is it our dying cancer patients or is it affordable housing? That is why I had to wake up at 4 a.m. I live in Kiambu County. I had to struggle with that traffic to come here and let the nation hear me. That our priorities are wrong and we must go back to the drawing board. Last week, when we were doing the presser with the ground team, I said it and I'll repeat. The many Haas vehicles I am registering on Thika Road every morning, especially from tomorrow, because people in Mount Kenya region bury their loved ones on Tuesdays and Fridays. If you go to Thika Road tomorrow morning, near KU Mortuary, the morgue, near KU Hospital Mortuary, the morgue, near Mokoe Hospital, the morgue, you will be shocked the many vehicles that are now increasingly appearing to collect their loved ones. The scenarios that are happening right now at our morgues or around our morgues are the scenarios and the scenes that we witnessed during COVID. It cannot be business as usual. And it will not be business as usual. And we are not going to sit as members of parliament, those of us that have conscience, to see those kind of scenes come back. It will haunt us today and for future, it will. We must call a spade, Eric. President's advisors who are telling him that the economy cannot support and cannot absorb the needs of our doctors are wrong. And telling the president that doctors and Kenyans have to start adjusting to live within our means. It is not within our means to construct affordable houses when we cannot afford to take our loved ones to Form 1. And for your information, Kenya Kwanza government has failed to provide the right to basic education to our Form 1 students who graduated from Class 8 last year. When Kenya Kwanza government came in, we were enjoying 100% transitions from Class 8 to Form 1. As we speak, 854,000 children did not report for Form 1. I heard the CS of health saying we are politicizing matters doctors strike. Let's put doctors aside. Are we politicizing the schools?
Why are these children not in school?
Where are these children? Why are they not in school? It is because the government has failed to make sure that they are bound with the policy that Kenya Kwanza found in place.
Why?
These 851 candidates are either now grazing animals, working as housemaids, or loitering in the street.
Because we said that there's something that must be paid for them to
Exactly.
be able to attend school, and that's something they cannot afford. Are we
Exactly.
talking about affordability now?
Yes.
Of these school fees
Yes.
that you are required to pay? Because there is a little bit of something that you must
Definitely.
bring.
Number
Bashira.
two, forget about even the money that the parents are supposed to pay as the children get to Form 1. Let's talk about capitation. As we speak, the Kenya Kwanza government has failed. And you know, when I speak like this, people say, oh, she's part of Kenya Kwanza government and she's now talking against the Kenya Kwanza government. I'm not talking about against the Kenya Kwanza government. I'm talking about the people who made that Kenya Kwanza government are the people who are suffering.
Where are we on capitation?
The whole of 2023, the government of Kenya did not submit the 100% money for capitation. And I'll break for you down. Can I?
Yes, please.
First term 2023, schools were supposed to get each child 11,122 per child. The government, through the circular that was dated on 26 January 2023 by PS Belio Kipsang, the government released 3,706. Can you do your maths? They were supposed to release 11,122. They released only 3,706. What was the balance?
About 7,400.
And the government also retained 707 shillings per child, money that was supposed to be for NHIF, what we call Edu Afya.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the deficit for first term 2023 was 6,709. Second term, the government was supposed to release 6,673. Through a circular that was dated 14th June 2023 by Belio Kipsang, the PS, the government released 3,381 and retained 768 shillings per child for Edu Afya. Deficit for second term was 2,524. Third term 2023, the government was supposed to release 4,449 shillings per child. Through a circular dated 25th September 2023 by Belio Kipsang, the PS, the government released only 2,512 and retained 815 shillings for Edu Afya per child. Deficit for third term was 1,122 per child. So the total deficit for the year 2023 that Kenya Kwanza did not remit, it is 10,355
Per child.
per child. So the total amount of money that Kenya Kwanza is expected to have released was 82 billion 888,723,744 shillings. What they received was 43 billion 874. So where is 38 billion 213 million 843,480 shillings? This money was in the budget.
So where is
Where
it?
did
Where is
this
the money?
money go? That is why Team Ground is coming together
So,
to ask these critical questions.
very good.
So as we speak, the children who have not been able to access to Form 1, the ones I'm talking about, the 138,000 children, cannot even be accommodated on credit in schools because already these schools are debt-ridden.
And that was money for last year. Can I just...
So
come-
as we
yeah.
speak right now, that is now last year.
That's last year.
We already have deficit of how much?
38 billion.
38 billion 213 million 843,480 shillings. Now let's come to 2024. We are talking about 4.2 million children under the Ministry of Education. Term 1, 2023. The schools were supposed to get 11,122 per child. Circular dated 17th January 2024 by Belio Kipsang released 7,754 per child. The government retained 565 shillings for Edu Afya
But Eduafia now is dead.
completely. Deficit for Form 1. Each child is owed by the government
Term one.
Term 1, 2,803. Therefore, the money for first term this year has gone to fill the deficit of last year. So as we speak right now, the capitation money that was sent to schools last week, but one, is not for second term. It's supposed to be taking care of the debts.
For third term,
Previous
second
debts.
term, and
But
first term.
Belio Kesang was very, very smart. He indicated in that circular that that money must only be used during second term, which is now coming next month. That is to mean he doesn't want teachers to use that money to pay debts.
Pay previous debts.
So if any head teacher had admitted a child who had no capacity to pay Form 1, what will happen to that child? Those children will go back home. So
Now,
as I speak about 138,000 who did not join Form 1, I'm expecting another 500,000 children who are going to be sent out of school because there is no capitation money. Schools are in debts and they are carrying burdens. They will chase away these children back.
Mheshimiwa, budget is done by Parliament.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So all the appropriation comes from Parliament. Oversighting and making sure that the money that's supposed to go to all these functions is done by Parliament. Are you telling me that these things happened while Parliament was watching and we only want to blame political patronage?
Yes.
So the reason why money was budgeted by Parliament and expenditure approved by Parliament, and then the money did not end up going to the schools as was supposed to have happened, was because of political patronage.
I can tell you here, and I will not blink, Parliament has failed Kenyans. Because from 2023 to date, I have read for you and explained to you the perpetual debt push over. Every time we are pushing debt over.
Yep.
And Parliament seems to be very quiet. People are not speaking. And when some of us speak, we are branded. So I decided I would rather be branded, but do what my conscience tells me to do. And I'll no longer carry that overcoat of, oh, I come from this area of political alienation, so I can't speak on this. Because if I don't speak on this, I'm spoiling a child's life, future, livelihoods. We are demolishing people's future. We are crumbling down what our forefathers built through sweat and blood for a long time.
Mheshimiwa, I think we really do
We
have
are
to ask-
retrogressing.
we really must insist and ask the questions
Yeah.
in terms of where this money has gone. We speak of 38 billion shillings from last year,
Yeah.
but we're also talking about 54 billion shillings from years before, right?
Yeah.
And now here we are in 2024, and I know that on one side, the ministry will say no school should send any child home.
Definitely.
That's nice. You can say that.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you for a fact, schools are sending children home. Second term is about to start next year, next
week,
month.
next month. Yeah.
Children who have not paid fees will not be allowed in
But
school.
what do you expect the head teachers
And
to
head
do?
teachers are saying, we don't have a choice. We cannot fund the lives of these children in school because we have not received the money.
So when I
So the questions that are being asked, I think now need to be pushed a little bit harder, because you've asked the question, where did 38 billion shillings go? Nobody is answering, Mheshimiwa.
And you know, every time Belio Kisang, the PS in charge of basic education, come to Parliament and these questions are asked, they keep saying, you know, we are releasing money next week.
Yeah.
Next week has actually become as the song. Every minister coming to Parliament to answer questions, they say, next week we are releasing CDF money. Next week we are releasing capitation money. Next week we are sorting out doctors. Next week. I think I have the confidence to speak this morning and say Kenya Kwanza government is sabotaging itself. Kenya Kwanza government is sabotaging itself, and this time around nobody should wake up and say, oh, it is Uhuru Kenyatta, oh, it is Raila Odinga, oh, now you are all speaking the same language, all of you. So nobody should come and say, oh, the cartels are being sent by Uhuru Kenyatta, by Raila Odinga, we are sabotaging ourselves. We are sabotaging ourselves medically. Nothing is happening in our public hospitals, and you know that. We are sabotaging ourselves education-wise. You can hear the kind of mess that is in our education sector. We are sabotaging ourselves agriculturally. You can see what's happening with subsidized fake fertilizer, fake seeds. Yesterday I was watching a clip of, fake maize seeds from Nakuru. We are sabotaging ourselves. And this is the time to take the problem and own it. The president, the ministers, Parliament, and anybody else who is in the leadership position, it is time for us to accept there is a problem.
Yep.
Let us go back to the drawing board. Let us have national dialogue, not about leaders, but about issues
About the
affecting
people.
Wajiko.
But then, do you think we are broke?
Definitely, yes. This is a sign.
So-
What else? How else do you define
Brokenness when you don't have money
brokenness?
to fit your basics. So here we are. You even have come with a copy of this year's budget policy
BPS.
statement,
I have the budget policy.
which has been looked at by the Committee of Budget and Appropriation.
Yeah.
The report has been presented in Parliament. That report was saying, you know what, looking at the collections in the last financial year, you did not even hit your target, and yet you are raising the target for collection in the next financial year by another whopping several hundreds of billions of shillings.
Yeah.
And the budget is rising again.
Yeah.
Is this responsible of Parliament to approve a continuously rising budget against dwindling targets being met on revenues?
Actually, if you ask me,
Aren't you just allowing the government to continue failing?
actually, if you asked me, there is no difference between this BPS for 2024 and the one that I opposed 2023. There is no difference, because this is talking about deficit of 877 billion. Money we do not have, but we are budgeting it.
Yeah.
So we will see another signature session. President Ruto accepting loans again. If we pass this BPS as a budget for this year, President Ruto has to ask for another loan. So for me, I'm saying let us suspend this. This year's budget must be suspended until we review and make sure we are not passing deficits. We cannot be living large on borrowed money. Let us suspend all those other expenditures that border along our livelihoods, our basic livelihoods requirement. For example, for heaven's sake, why do we have to build new houses when people are dying in hospitals? What is our priority? Can't we take that money that we are using to construct affordable houses? We first of all deal with our medical issues. When people are healthy, they actually even can sleep outside and they will not even be sick. I mean, when you're healthy, you can sleep anywhere. When you are full, when you have eaten and you are full, you can sleep anywhere. So to me, I think it's time for us to create the right political noise around this budget proposal. This proposal
KTN News. Get the whole story.